Hey guys, welcome back to DashLux, where our motto is, we can't tell you how cars work, but we damn sure can tell you about them. I'm your host Dasher, and today's video is all about my first car. Now, I can't really decide if we should do a video on the first car that I drove or the first car that I bought. So I think just for simplicity purposes, we're just gonna do the first car that I drove. So if 90s budget-based SUVs are your jam, I'm gonna need all of you to pull up to the bumper, unbuckle your seat, and settle on in for this one. Alright, y'all, so my first car was a 1996 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, okay? Laredo, the fancy model, baby, because we don't do base models over here. Why am I talking like I'm in the movie Friday? It's this damn plaid shirt and these gold chains. Anywho, the Laredo trim level. What? Laredo was the base model? So then what was the fancy one? Limited! It's fine, it's okay, it's alright. So mommy and daddy lied to me? It's okay. I'm just gonna name my baby Limited. Anywho, so I got the car as part of my 16th birthday back in 2006. So it was pretty much a 10-year-old car at that point. And I got the car as part of what I call a very sick joke, a very sick and cruel joke that my parents played on me. And when I say my parents, I mean my father. And let me tell y'all why. So before I tell this story, I just want to preface this with, I am not ungrateful, okay? I know it's a weird way to start a story, but like I can feel that somebody's going to be judging me as I tell this story, okay? So I'm not saying that your parents owe you something at 16 and that if they buy you a car, it should be the one that you want. I am just saying this was my story and I can only tell the truth from my perspective, all right? So, in Maryland, where I grew up, you have to be 15 and 9 months to get your license. I don't know if that's still the same regulations that it is now, but back then it was 15 and 9 months. So I did everything that I needed to do to get my license. I studied, I went on the websites, I got all the information, I made sure I scheduled the test. So on my 15 and 9 month birthday, I got my license, okay? Now, my parents had told me beforehand that if I, got all A's in school, did everything I needed to pass the test on the first go, I would get whatever car that I wanted, okay? And so the car that I had selected was a Range Rover. And like, I'm not saying like a brand new one. Like I actually wanted like an older model one, something in like the 20 to maybe 30,000, price range or whatever. I wasn't unreasonable, even though I was pretty much living on another cloud, probably Mars, which is a planet, but don't worry about semantics. So I had pretty much said in my head that I want a Range Rover. I'd gone onto Auto Trader and did all the research and printed out listings and distributed them around the house because I'm nothing if not thorough. And so my parents knew that this is what I really, really wanted, okay? And so, like I said, I did everything I needed to do. I got all A's, I took the test, I passed it, I did everything. So, although I got my license on my 15th and 9 month birthday, I didn't get the car till I was actually 16, so a couple months later. So on my 16th birthday, y'all, my dad gave me a large box, okay? And the way my dad likes to give presents is that he doesn't really do a lot of wrapping paper stuff. He really likes newspapers, like old school newspapers with like the comics and the funny pages. So that's how it was wrapped. So it was this huge box and it was wrapped in the funny papers. So I start opening up because I'm just like, emotional. And I'm thinking the keys to my Range Rover are in here. And I think the first thing I said when I got the box was, oh, so y'all just put the keys in here. The car is outside or is around the corner. I ran to the door. I didn't see it in the driveway. So I said, there might be some BS on hand. But we gonna see how this ends up, okay? So I opened up the package. And so, like I told y'all, my dad is a fan of the funny paper. So instead of like tissue paper that you would see in presents, it was pretty much the funny paper. So I would pull out lots of different comics and stuff, but I wasn't paying attention. And then I started to notice that the pieces of paper were heavy. So I started unwrapping each one thinking that it was car keys. And I just kept pulling out model cars. Okay, so one model car, two, like the little, I don't know, what Hot Wheels, like little model cars back in the days. So I would just pull out one after the other, and I just line them up on the table because I thought this was just like the big drum up to where my keys were at the bottom. Y'all, I got to the bottom of the box. There were no keys to be found, okay? But let me tell you what I did find, okay? When I got my depressed face from the bottom of that box and looked up, was my dad's smiling face on the other side of the table, just smiling and staring at me. So of course I'm like, so where are my keys? Where's the Range Rover? It's my 16th birthday. I passed my test. I got my report card. I did everything I was supposed to do. He said, oh, you thought you were getting a car? And I said, yeah, that was kind of the whole point of this whole exercise that we went through. Oh no, well, you're not getting that car, but we did get you a car, which ended up being the 1996 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now, pause. The Jeep Grand Cherokee was not a new car, okay? When I say new car, it wasn't a car that he just bought, like for the purposes of that, for the purposes of my birthday. It was a car that he drove, okay? So let me tell you how it works, or let me tell you what he did. So instead of buying me a car, whether it be used, new, or whatever, my dad decided to have a midlife crisis and go out and buy himself a Chrysler Crossfire convertible, okay? So I got his hand-me-down Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now, do not get me wrong, y'all. I was grateful to have a car at 16 years old, to be able to drive to high school back and forth at 16 years old, to be able to chauffeur my friends around, once I passed whatever, because I think you have to go through like another little session in terms of being able to carry passengers without your parent and stuff. So I was grateful for all of that. But my disappointment in not getting my Range Rover, okay, outweighed the happiness that I would have had if the Jeep was put on the table in the first place, right? Because you have to prepare people for things in life, okay? You can't just give it to them and then just expect them to just be happy if they have their mind set on something else, right? So listen, I can say that out of all my cars, and I've had 5 to date, which I'll get to in subsequent videos, I'll probably do like a video per car because I feel like all my cars have stories. And this one was probably the one that had the least amount of problems. Now, because the car came from an unloved place in terms of me being led to the car under false pretenses, I didn't give this car a name. I have names for all my cars, just like pet names, from like driving it, you just like have a name for it. And so I never named this car, which lets y'all know that I wasn't really feeling it. So although I can't ever remember a time where the Jeep ever broke down on me, I feel that, actually no, there was one time where the tire blew out. But that has nothing to do with the car itself. That was more so the tire. So out of all the cars that I've ever had, it's probably been the most reliable. It was really just external stuff that happened to the car. So y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if you ever had a 1996 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and if like people were trying to like steal it, vandalize it, take it from you, ne'er-do-wells just kept popping up. Like, I don't even know. When my dad was driving the car got stolen like 3 times. Once I got it, it never got stolen, but it was like vandalized. I remember one time we went outside to go to church, and the front window of it was shattered, and somebody had taken like a screwdriver and put it in the ignition to try to start the car. Now listen, I did not go to criminal school, so I know nothing about criminology and how ne'er-do-wellers operate, but baby, can y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if you can start a Jeep Grand Cherokee with a screwdriver? Because I just thought this was maybe not like, this wasn't the criminal A team that was trying to steal the car. This was like the B or C team. I don't know. But to me, your heart wasn't in it. If you didn't come with the proper tools to steal the car, your heart wasn't in it to begin with. But anywho, I digress. So like I said, no real story to tell in terms of the car and its operation, because I mean, at the end of the day, it got me to point A. From point A to point B, it was a solid car, minus all the people trying to steal it and vandalize it. It served me well. I just was never able to develop that loving feeling for the car because we were led together under false pretenses. So thank you, Daddy. Anywho, y'all, if y'all liked what I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on YouTube and IG at DashLux. And until next time, y'all, don't dangle false carrots in front of your children, or they may turn out sad and possibly ungrateful like me. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.